Hello, good morning. What a rainy morning. We're very, very excited to be here today and to host this panel that's going to be exploring how to bring digital roads to life, how to make our lives safer, easier, and that's by transforming the way we drive, the way we get to our families, to our jobs, the way we use information, real-time information, and we communicate connected cars and digital infrastructure. He asked, who of those think that autonomous cars are going to be here in 5, 10 years? But I have another question. Who of you already have a connected car? A car that receives information? You also might have a subscription? Some hands, raising hands? Ooh, we have some hands there. And I'm pretty sure that most of you already have some kind of connected services already going on. Actually, all those services that we have and that we're already using will enable the future of roads, will enable the way cars and infrastructure will communicate. And OpenVia, the innovation and technological platform from the Global Via Group, wants to be part of this vision and has recently launched NeoRoads, a program or a vision that wants to enable digital roads to connect services, people, cars, infrastructure, and to improve, at the end of the day, safety, the way we drive by receiving information on what's happening ahead. The only possible way of doing this is through collaboration, through co-creation, and through having such interesting conversations as the ones that we're going to have right now, having all the agents from ecosystems, OEMs like Porsche, tech vendors like NTT and ourselves, infrastructure is critical. It's critical to make things happen. So let me introduce you to this exceptional panel that we're having today. We're having Ivan Burgos from Porsche Iberica. He's an expert in connected car services, social media strategies. He's been working for luxury brands, consumer goods, Nokia, Samsung, so he knows a lot about user services. We also have Fernando Rex from NTT Data. He's an expert in networks, operations, and lately, obviously focusing in 5G deployments, our enabling technology. And also Fernando Vallejo, he's the head of innovation and sustainability and IT from Global Via, and also the CEO of OpenVia, a mobility enthusiast, crazy about connected and autonomous vehicles. And gentlemen, I have some questions for you. Let's start with you, Ivan.
No video?
Sorry. I'm not putting the interesting part, and I always wanted to say something, and I'm going to say it in Spanish. Dentro video.
Imagine a future where our roads are even safer, more sustainable, and smarter. At OpenVia, we are already making this happen. With our NeoRoads initiative, we apply technologies such as 5G communications, IoT devices and sensors, and artificial intelligence to digitalize roads, improving the ecosystem of connected vehicles. NeoRoads helps road operators optimize operations and speed up response times to increase service quality. It also improves maintenance efficiency, enabling better use of resources and anticipating potential flaws in the infrastructure elements. The safety and experience of their users are key for road operators, so NeoRoads creates a communication channel between the two, enabling new services to be defined and delivered to connected vehicle users. At OpenVia, we are committed to transforming and digitalizing roads, preparing them for emerging demands, offering new value and services. Discover how NeoRoads is making the future of mobility a reality, improving the lives of millions worldwide.
And now we're with the questions. Ivan, let's start with you.
Right.
So what type of services is Porsche working in, or do you foresee that they're going to be coming in the next years?
We are developing services since maybe 8 years ago, and we already have in the market a number of services. We have two kinds of services. Security service, let's say to remotely stop thieves of stealing your car, this kind of security services. We have remote functionality services. So this is key for electric vehicles, because when your car is on a charging station, you need to know with your smartphone if this is working, the level of charge you already have, and these kind of things. And we are selling these products with every car for 8 years, and we have, let's say, we are on our way to have 1 million users, active users on a monthly basis, which is huge for a brand so small as Porsche is. On the other hand, every car is a device today. It's a 3G or 5G device, and is creating data every second. It's data about behavior, and it's data coming from sensors on the vehicle. So it's data about take it on the road. So we have an ecosystem of services. We have third parties like Google and many others, and we have common services. We are running third-party services on our devices, and in the other hand, we are developing our own services with third parties. So it's a huge ecosystem. Everybody can imagine the car as a new device. So you have a full ecosystem. We have our services store, the Connect store. This is what is happening today. But in the future, well, I think it's not only for Porsche, but works with the whole industry. The ecosystem is going to be probably a huge business, because third party, they are going to be able to create their own apps based on the data the devices are getting from the roads, and then create services to improve not only safety, but the brand experience and the driving experience. So the future, I think, is going to be, let's say, increasing ecosystem of third parties and service providers, and also maybe hardware providers, creating apps to be run on the cars.
I love the way you talk about ecosystems, because life is about ecosystems, services. But technology plays a big role, isn't it, Fernando? What do you think are the main challenges regarding connectivity, how to connect cars, people, infrastructure?
Okay. As you say, there are several challenges, no a single one in this context. No? Ivan was talking about the data that we need to manage, the complexity of processing all of this information. This will require a new infrastructure to support this. No? We need to deploy new and dedicated networks to support these new requirements in order to support the autonomous driving and other features that are related with the connected car. And this requires a huge deployment, thinking the deployment of new connectivity, new network through all the roads, all the infrastructures that we have globally. This represents a huge investment as well, no? A huge effort of all the companies related with this, also the public sector, in terms of investing on this infrastructure. In terms of technology, we have the solution. And the problem here is basically the money. No? We need to find a way to monetize the investment we have to do. And in order to do that, we are working all together in a co-creation environment in order to define an innovative set of services that could provide enough value to the users to make possible the generation of revenue that will make possible this new business. No? On the other hand, it's important to remark that this is only possible also if we have innovation as part of the equation. No? We need startups, we need new ideas, new developments that will be part of this ecosystem to provide this value. This requires also, and this is very relevant from a system integrator perspective, we need standardization, we need interoperability, we need to make possible that all these pieces together, coming from different sources, work together, providing value to the final user. And this is actually one of the main challenges that from the system integration perspective we have at this moment.
Sorry, don't you think that this infrastructure that is being created right now has the risk of being absolutely different in the US, for instance, and in Europe, or different from Europe to Asia? Mm-hmm. Because today it is.
Yeah, Absolutely, regulation is different depending on the country where you are, and the behavior of each government is different. In some places they are opening the door for the private companies to deploy their own networks. In others, is not allowed. The management of the frequencies, the spectrum, is also different. Is another issue to manage in this business. So there is an additional complexity. You are right.
I think there is a three-speed development, which is the North America, US, Canada, maybe Mexico, maybe another one is Europe, and the third one is Asia. And it's getting complex because Asia is so different from the US, for instance. For instance, in our case, services are different from Asia to US.
Absolutely.
And from different because the infrastructure is different. In Europe, we rely, I'm giving an example, on Vodafone Automotive and Vodafone Network, which is running in whole Europe, which is not 16 anymore in Asia. So there is a different infrastructure and it's different hardware on the cars. So the services based on the data on the sensors on the car are different, based on different hardware.
Yeah.
So it's so complex that means I expect in the future maybe Asia or Europe having tens or hundreds of services running, and maybe US only 10. So let's see what's happened, but it's going to be complex.
Yeah, in this sense, on the services that we provide from NeoRoads, that's a complexity that is taken into account, meaning that when we call it the NeoRoads kit, where you have different modules that you can apply depending on the road that you are operating. And this means that the kit that we will have for Europe will be different to the kit that we have for the US. And that's very important because we have like a set of a toolbox where we can select those tools that are applicable to each scenario. For example, you were talking about the US. In fact, we think that the US is one of the leaders in terms of smart infrastructure. They have one thing that we don't have here. It's, for example, public spectrum to be used by private networks.
Yeah.
So in Europe, when you want to develop a smart infrastructure using 5G telecommunications, you have to talk to Vodafone or to Telefonica or to another player in order to get bandwidth to provide these services that we have seen in the video. What happens in the US? In the US, the picture is different. In the US, you can ask for a certain spectrum where you can deploy your services. And you don't need a mobile network operator already running. This really creates an incentive for the industry to develop new services and these sets of things that can create new businesses. At the end, our target in NeoRoads is to change the color of roads. That's the simple thing. So we don't want to have gray roads. We want to have blue roads. Why blue? Because if you ask ChatGPT and you ask what's the color of digital, ChatGPT tells you that it's blue. So we want to change roads from gray to blue. And this is a challenge. And the main challenge that we have here is who is going to pay for this? Because everything is really nice, innovation is really nice, but at the end, when you have to go there, somebody has to pay for that. So the challenge that we are facing with NeoRoads is getting with all the partners, trying to look for services that the user will pay for that. Will you pay for safety? We have very successful brands from OEMs that has based its campaigns and marketing in safety, and we think that safety is another value to those users who has a connected car already that want to add a service like safety. And how the future will look like. I guess that next time, I guess many people here are from startups. So when you are a founder, you want two things. You want your project to be done, it's your passion. And the second thing is you want to get rich because you want to have a unicorn. So when you have this money, the next thing that you do is to buy a Porsche.
Yeah.
So you buy a Porsche, and then you, in the Porsche concessionaire, they tell you, what services do you want? I want this service, this many really nice services from Porsche, and then they tell you, and do you want a Safety Plus service? Why not? So this is where we want to reach. This Service Plus, so when you go through a highway, which is under the NeoRoads initiative, the safety plus is activated and the infrastructure is providing information to the car so that you know that something is happening, that there is a wild pig crossing the highway at that moment, and the Porsche automatically will decrease the speed to stop and not to hit the wild pig and not to have an accident. So is this the way that we are going to have in the future and the services? I don't know, but we have to try. If we don't put these services in place, if we don't put these vehicles with these capabilities, if we don't put the technology, the telecommunications that can provide these low latency services, if we don't prepare the roads to have these services ready, we will not have the possibility to test it. And this is why we are here, and we cannot do it alone. We have to do it all together.
On the other hand, this transport industry is changing so fast in the past 5 years and changing so fast in the next 5 years that it really scares, because it was almost the same for 50 years. Same cars, same quality, same safety regulation, same thing for 50 years. And 5 years ago, it started a deep transformation, including the technology, which is impacting the way we design product. On the other hand, we have some regulation about emissions, which is changing the way we design products. So, and on the other hand, we have safety regulations. You know, for instance, in Europe, every car needs to have an ECM. In the case of a crash, they call 911. So they have a safety code in case of crash, which is safety regulation, and is based on telecommunication infrastructure. So this is changing so fast that it's impossible to know which services will be really a customer need. Because today all the services we have are based on regulation, or they are services nice to have. But how will be the services in the next year for customers?
That's a good question.
Picking your point, Ivan, you were talking about the huge impact that technology is having over the past years. So I would like to ask Fernando, what do you think, Fernando from NTT, what do you think are the main transforming technologies that will impact this ecosystem?
Well, you say the right word from my perspective, the ecosystem. No? This is an ecosystem of technologies that all together will provide the value that we need. No? Something that we are still looking for. In terms of connectivity, the requirement is clear. No? We need to manage a huge amount of data. I said before, in low latency, high capacity of the network. This is today, the answer to that in a mobility environment is 5G. 5G is the solution to get today. Tomorrow will be 6G and maybe other technology. We have also CV2X. We have already developed the technology that will permit the communication between vehicles and the infrastructure. And this connectivity altogether will permit the transfer of data that is required to support the new services. But we need also the capacity to process all this amount of data. No? We need an enormous infrastructure in the cloud, in the edge, able to manage all this data and provide the value to the users. I repeat value because it's the most relevant topic. This is not about technology, about an exercise of theoretical possibilities. It's about providing value to the final users. And once we are talking about cloud and edge, there we could have anything. No? We can use the existing engines for artificial intelligence. We can use analytics, we can use IoT, we can use all the technologies that are available, and combining all of them, we will have these new services available for the users, and then we will start making a profitable business around this. Obviously, this opens the door also to all the startups, as I did before, to be part of the ecosystem of solutions that will provide features required for specific functions in this context.
And
So we've seen that Porsche is doing lots of digital services since 8 years ago, which is a great deal. Fernando has explained us how technology is impacting. Are we going to see the next generation infrastructure operators? Are traditional infrastructure operators going to change? I mean, is it in their DNA to become more digital, or what's going to be their role?
It's not in our DNA, but it's becoming part of our DNA. So we have to change. Everybody has to change. We have to change ourselves every day. And this represents a challenge. But I can tell you more. I think we have to address the vision that we want to achieve. If we don't have a vision, we will not get it. So first thing, we are here in Europe. Now, with your cars, you can have hands-free mode in your vehicles. In the US, you can be driving with these long, straight roads for hours without touching your steering wheel. This is done now. This is not done in Europe because maybe legislation of different countries, we are experts in regulation, all this stuff. But this is happening already in the US. It's not the future, it's the present. So what's the future? The future is that in not many years from now, it will not be only that you will not have hands on the steering wheel. You will not look at the road. It will be hands off, eyes off. I know you like Instagram and TikTok, so you will be able to look at the TikTok while you are driving. Because it's easier, it's better, you enjoy it. Why should you go and see all the time the road?
Because of the passion of driving.
Yeah, it's the passion. Yeah, maybe with the Porsche. Yeah, I understand that.
I think we will keep the wheel. We will keep the wheel for a while.
Yeah, so it's not be 0 or 1. Obviously, you will have certain.
Maybe if you are in a traffic jam, you can check your email, which is good, or take a nap.
Yeah, so you will have the chance of doing that, but and this is the future that would come, so that you will be able just to completely do something else while you are driving, maybe talking to your children or whatever. So this will be available in the coming years. This is not very far away in time. So infrastructure will play a critical role here because some OEMs, I will not tell every OEM because there are different OEMs, some OEMs, they feel that they want to be autonomous in 2 ways. They want to be autonomous from the autonomous car, and also they want to be autonomous in providing a solution to the user. We believe that this solution is so complex that it needs the collaboration of many companies around the challenge. And this is where we are. And I think we can do it. And I think that we can do it soon.
So we're heading to the last remarks and last thoughts. Ivan, I would like to ask you, with the crystal ball, where driver is not so fashionable anymore, what are the key services you think users, drivers will experience?
I think next 10 years, from the point of view of a car manufacturer and a luxury sport car manufacturer, we will have, I'm guessing, we'll have 2 kind of services. Few services will be based on electric cars, because this is going to be huge. In next 10 years, we need the whole industry needs to move to electric cars. So there's going to be a gap of charging infrastructure, and we will need technology and services to manage the existing infrastructure, to book services, and to keep it efficient. So electric infrastructure services will be key. On the other hand, luxury sport car manufacturer, luxury cars, high-end cars, premium cars, they will create services for joy to improve the brand experience. So you will have some services out of your car to increase the value of the brand and the experience, make you happy about the brand and your car, but not only in the car. So doing more things. I'm talking about related to everything that makes us happy.
Driving. And Fernando, question for you. This is a difficult one. One, transforming...
Alex is looking at us with a very...
1 second left. One, just one transforming technology that's going to change the world in the way we drive and we move?
The technology is artificial intelligence from a perspective. Obviously, is the basis to manage all the complexity that brings this new universe of services that we are defining. So we need these autonomous decisions. We need this intelligence in the network and in the cars in order to manage this complexity. So this is what will change everything.
Thank you. Fernando, final remark.
Final remark is, see you everybody here in 5 years' time with your connected and autonomous car. Maybe you will not have to drive, so we'll wait for the next 5 years for you to come and see.
Thank you very much for joining us in this exceptional panel, and see you in stand 143. We have some sweets and chuches and arcade to play. Thank you so much.
Big applause, please.